You're listening to The Big V, only on Blast.
This is an emergency broadcast. Emergency broadcast.
The Conservative Liberal Democrat Coalition Agreement was a policy document drawn up following the 2010 general election.
It was an agreement between David Cameron's Conservative Party and Nick Clegg's Liberal Democrats that would form a coalition government, also known as a hung parliament.
Hung parliaments occur when no party in a general election has no clear majority victory, and as neither party had the minimum requirement of 326 seats to form a government.
This was only the second general election since World War II to return a hung parliament, the first being the February 1974 election.
The coalition's policies on education sounded great on paper, but in reality, was anything done? Their policies included a significant funding premium for children from poorer backgrounds, incentivising schools to take them in and devoting more resources to them.
Schools would be allowed to enter the state schooling system where demanded, be granted greater freedom over the national curriculum, and to be held properly accountable for their performances.
Tuition fees were famously tripled when Nick Clegg's party went back on their vow that they wouldn't raise the fees, and students can now expect to graduate with an average debt of £42,800 after they finish their course. This is a sum that many graduates would never earn enough to repay before their 30-year time limit on the debt expires. This was well known by the coalition, who calculated around 30% of loans would never be paid back in full.
Delivery of a new consolidated work programme, helping job seekers to gain employment, was created on a payment by results basis.
The coalition were also intent on delivering British jobs for British people, with the level of Britons in employment higher than foreign-born workers in this country for the first time late 2010. Curiously, the number of foreign-born workers in the UK only started to rise once the coalition started running Downing Street, although the government have brought UK unemployment down to 1.82 million, a 1 million decrease from the day they took office.
Despite a promise that the better off would carry the burden of austerity, changes to direct taxes, benefits and tax credits affected the poorer governments in British society most. Estimates suggest that poverty increased massively over the course of the coalition's time in office and will only get worse in the next 5 years, regardless of the election outcome.
Eligibility has been severely restricted for some benefits and services. This particularly affected out-of-work benefit claimers, along with tougher penalties for not meeting their job targets.
Food bank usage has also risen from a few thousand to nearly 1 million people during the coalition's time in office, proving that even the so-called hard-working families that they are trying to serve best have struggled to survive.
Social housing providers were encouraged to seek more private funding for new homes, charge rent closer to market levels, and move away from tenancies for life. But renters still struggle to maintain rights over their properties and the prices they're paying.
Affordable housing has been made a big agenda for the government, but the lack of available properties and the increase of foreign investors has seen property prices skyrocket since 2010.
Equality policies promote equal pay and extend the right to request flexible working hours. A public sector pay review was set up to prevent the highest paid earning more than 20 times the salary of the lowest paid.
The coalition has also stopped deportation of asylum seekers who had to leave home countries because of intimidation over their sexual orientation.
The coalition made sure UK civil partnerships are recognised abroad, as well as David Cameron fighting hard to legalise gay marriage in 2014.
Overall, the coalition has struggled hard to implement change, and the fact that two different parties occupy power has served to make the passing of bills and laws much more difficult. Students have failed to see any benefits at all, despite being promised so many, and society's richest have gotten richer while the poor have gotten poorer.
The upcoming election isn't likely to provide a clear majority for any party, due to the abandoning of the idea of two-party politics in the UK.
The Conservatives haven't stuck to their party promises, but the Labour Party have failed to capitalise on that.
The last few years for the Liberal Democrats has been a PR nightmare, as they now poll worse than they have for many years. While the rise of UKIP, the Green Party and the SNP after a revolutionary Scottish independence referendum have seen UK politics flung wide open, and the May's election is the least predictable for many years.
For that reason, it's hugely important that students and young people nationwide get out there and vote on May 7th.
It's simple. If you don't do politics, then politics will do you.
That was The Big V, only on Blast.